This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 253, Slow Wealth, the Fantasmic J.D. Roth interview, part 1, by Babauta of Zen Habits.net. And welcome back, everybody. I'm Dan, your host for the next 10 or 12 minutes here on Optimal Finance Daily. I'm here every Monday through Friday, bringing you some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet in audio form. And a happy Wednesday to everybody. Happy day after Valentine's Day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Now, today is a little bit different in a few ways. First, I'm starting a 3-part post from Zen Habits, and to make it even more different, it's actually an interview with J.D. Roth, who is an author that I read from regularly on this show. And last, we have a sponsor today, and he is a really big help in keeping this podcast alive. If you want to work your way towards $10 million, check out Jason Hardman and his Creating Wealth podcast. He's been a big help to us here, so we'd greatly appreciate it if you could return the favor and check out his site and podcast as well. Again, that's the Creating Wealth podcast, and you can come by oldpodcast.com/wealth to learn more. And with that, let's start part 1 of our 3-part post as we optimize your life. Slow Wealth, the Fantasmic J.D. Roth interview, part 1, by Babauta of Zen Habits.net. Most people don't know that when I started Zen Habits in January 2007, I was reading a small handful of blogs. Lifehacker, of course, was one, but Get Rich Slowly was another must-read blog for me. J.D. Roth's common sense, frugal philosophy on Get Rich Slowly wasn't just advice about getting out of debt and being financially sound, it was advice about living life itself. J.D. had more influence on Zen Habits than anyone realizes, and continues to inspire me to this day. He's become one of my favorite blogger friends among many, and that he's come out with a new book, Your Money, The Missing Manual, is a source of both pride and excitement for me personally. I'm also excited that JD gave me this exclusive interview, and I have to say, it rocks. Some of the things we covered, it's fairly long, but that's a good thing, include the core of JD's philosophy that helped him get out of $35,000 of debt, how to get out of a job or life you hate, automating finances, the 5 stages of personal finance, how to get started getting out of debt when it seems hopeless, becoming frugal with naysayers or trolls in your life, why a frugal life isn't a horrible life. He shares a ton of great financial info, and as I said, it's advice that will help in any area of your life. Enjoy, and then go and buy his book, Your Money, The Missing Manual. Leo, you're one of my all-time favorite writers on personal finance and frugality on or off the web, and I've been reading you for probably close to 4 years, but for those who are new, can you tell us a little about the core philosophy behind Get Rich Slowly and how you came to have that philosophy? JD, thanks for the kind words. My philosophy developed slowly over time. I don't have any sort of formal financial training. I'm just a regular guy who has been trying to learn about money for the past several years and who has been teaching others as I learn. I've made plenty of mistakes and continue to make them, but try to learn along the way so I don't repeat them and so that I can teach others not to make the same errors. So over the course of 5 years, I've managed to pay off over $35,000 in debt, quit my day job, and go from having nothing saved to fully funding my retirement accounts every year. In the process, I've developed a 14-point philosophy. Rather than belabor all 14 points here, I'll summarize. First of all, nobody cares more about your money than you do. It took me a long time to realize this, but nobody, not your accountant, your lawyer, your broker, your insurance salesman, your banker, nobody cares about your money the way you do. Everyone else will give you advice, but it's advice that generally benefits them in some way, especially if they work on commission. You have to take charge and do your own research. I also believe there's rarely one right answer for any financial problem. Instead of listening to somebody who tells you that you must do things one way, do what works for you. Listen to other people's advice, but adapt it to your own situation. If something feels wrong, then try something else. Make choices that reflect your strength and values. Finally, always remember that it's more important to be happy than to be rich. Sure, studies show that money generally increases well-being, and there's nothing wrong with trying to have more, but don't make choices that sacrifice your long-term happiness for the sake of a few bucks. Don't work at a job you hate. Don't buy stuff because your friends buy stuff. Don't invest in the stock market if it's going to make you nervous. Make choices that will bring you long-term happiness. Leo, I think the problem for some people is they feel stuck at a job they hate or in a lifestyle of a certain type, with spouse and kids expecting certain things perhaps. How do you change from this so that you're not sacrificing your happiness for money? JD, that's a great question, and I think it gets at the heart of personal finance. Money management isn't about the numbers, it's about goals and dreams. That sounds a little new agey, but it's true. If you feel stuck, the first step is to figure out why you feel stuck. You can't solve the problem if you don't identify it. One way to help achieve some clarity is to take some time to actually set some financial goals. From my own experience, I know that if you don't create a map for yourself, it's easy to get lost. And when you get lost, it's easy to become overwhelmed. Also, I think that when many people feel trapped, they just sort of freeze. They don't do anything. That's how I was for a long time. When this happens, the best thing you can do is to take small steps toward what you really want. If you're stuck at a job you hate, then maybe take night classes in something that interests you. Start moving slowly in the direction of your dreams. Even a little bit of change can help you relieve some of the pressure. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled Slow Wealth, the Fantasmic J.D. Roth interview by Leo Babauta of ZenHabits.net. And this post is about 3 times as long as a normal one that I read here, so I'm going to break it up into 3 parts for you. I'll read part 2 tomorrow, and then I'll wrap it up on Friday. But before I head out, while you're there in your podcast app listening to us, check out the Creating Wealth podcast with Jason Hartman. He's owned properties in 11 states. He has hundreds of tenants. And in addition to being an investor, he's also a real estate developer and moneylender. So his show covers a wide range of topics. So if you like the content here, definitely check out his podcast too. Again, that's the Creating Wealth podcast, and you can visit oldpodcast.com/wealth for more info. And I'll be reading some posts from him soon as well, so you can get a nice glimpse of the kind of value that he offers. Big thanks to Jason for believing in this podcast and supporting us. And if you check him out too, you'll be helping this show at the same time. So again, come by oldpodcast.com/wealth and make sure you subscribe to the Creating Wealth podcast with Jason Hartman. And that will do it for our episode 253. Have yourselves a great day, everybody, and we'll continue this interview tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more from incredible bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, Mark and Angel, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Finance Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode, and head to oldpodcast.com, that's OLDpodcast.com, for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.